We all have dreams we hold close, goals that sit in the back of our minds, waiting for the perfect moment to begin. But that perfect moment rarely arrives. Instead, we find ourselves trapped between intention and action, knowing what we should do yet feeling unable to start. Force Yourself to Get It Done is a guide for breaking that silent barrier. It's not about sudden motivation or rare bursts of inspiration. It's about building a steady, intentional mindset that helps you take action even when you don't feel ready. This book explores the quiet strength found in discipline, the kind that grows slowly, becomes part of who you are, and leads to lasting change. Through practical steps, mental shifts, and a deeper understanding of how the mind works, you'll learn to create momentum rather than wait for it. Each chapter gives you tools to push through resistance, not by force or pressure, but by clarity and purpose. As you listen, allow the ideas to guide you gently into action. Take notes, pause when a thought resonates, and most importantly, apply what you learn. If you're enjoying this audiobook and want more content like this, make sure to subscribe and follow so you never miss future chapters. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1: The Dark Mode Mindset, Awakening Your Inner Warrior. There are moments in life when gentle motivation isn't enough. You know what you want, you feel the desire to change, yet something inside holds you back. The dark mode mindset is not about aggression or anger, it's about tapping into a deeper layer of determination that appears when you stop negotiating with yourself. It is a quiet shift from "I hope I can" to "I must." In this state, you no longer wait for inspiration, you act because the goal matters more than your temporary feelings. This mindset begins with clarity. When you have a purpose that feels meaningful, resistance loses its power. The problem is not that we lack motivation, but that we lose sight of why we started. Dark mode brings the reason back into focus. It reminds you that growth requires discomfort, and that every step forward demands strength. Instead of chasing excitement, you commit to showing up even when the process feels difficult or unfamiliar. Entering this mindset means acting before the mind has time to talk you out of it. When hesitation appears, you move anyway. You silence the inner debate, not by force, but by choice. You tell yourself, "This matters, and avoiding it will not bring me closer." The moment you remove the option to quit, discipline begins to grow. You become less reactive to excuses and more connected to what you're capable of achieving. But dark mode is not meant to be a constant state. It is a mental switch you activate when you need extra strength, starting a task you fear, making a tough decision, or pushing past the point where you normally stop. It works because it shifts your identity from someone who tries to someone who follows through. It's a tool, not a personality. The goal is progress, not pressure. To enter this state intentionally, create a personal ritual. It might be a phrase you repeat, a moment of silence before starting, or writing down your intention. These small anchors help the mind recognize that it's time to focus. Over time, the transition becomes easier. What once felt difficult becomes familiar, and the discipline you build remains long after the moment of effort ends. The dark mode mindset is ultimately an act of self-respect. It says, "I am committed to my future more than my current comfort." When you embrace this way of thinking, action becomes natural and avoidance loses its appeal. You begin to trust yourself more deeply, not because things are easy, but because you've learned that you are capable of doing them even when they are hard. This is where growth begins. Chapter 2: Breaking Comfort Zones, the Gateway to Real Growth. Comfort feels safe. It's familiar, predictable, and effortless. But while comfort protects us, it also quietly limits us. When we stay in the same routines, same habits, same patterns, same thoughts, we stop growing. Progress happens outside of what is easy, not within it. Real success begins the moment you step beyond the boundary of what feels natural and allow yourself to face discomfort with intention. Our comfort zones are built not from what we cannot do, but from what we choose not to attempt. We repeat old behaviors because they don't challenge us. The problem is that life expands only when we do. Staying in comfort may keep things peaceful, but it also keeps opportunities out of reach. The key is to recognize that discomfort is not a sign to turn back, but a sign that you're moving toward growth. Breaking out of comfort doesn't always mean extreme change. Sometimes it starts with small shifts, waking up earlier than usual, working in silence instead of noise, walking instead of taking transport, starting a task immediately instead of waiting. These simple adjustments send a message to your mind: I am capable of doing more than I think. The goal is not to shock the system, but to stretch it, slowly, consistently, intentionally. To step beyond comfort, you must first become aware of the routines that hold you in place. Ask yourself, which habits make me feel safe but stagnant? What decisions do I avoid because they require effort? When you acknowledge these barriers, they lose their power. Often, the fear of starting is greater than the challenge itself. Once you begin, resistance fades and momentum grows. A practical way to challenge your comfort is to set growth triggers, small actions designed to push you slightly beyond your usual patterns. For example, speak up in meetings when you usually stay quiet, take on tasks that feel mildly uncomfortable, or give yourself deadlines that reduce time for hesitation. Each trigger builds confidence, and over time, the new unfamiliar becomes the new normal. When you break free from comfort, you don't just complete more tasks, you change your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who acts, someone who evolves, someone who chooses progress over ease. The world opens up, not because your path becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Growth is not found in staying where you are, it is found in every step you take beyond it. Chapter 3: Action Comes First, the Real Secret of Discipline. Most people wait for motivation before they begin. They assume that inspiration must arrive like a spark before any serious work can happen. But in reality, motivation rarely comes on its own. The truth is simple: action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you start doing the task, especially when you don't feel ready, your mind begins to align with progress, and the energy you were waiting for finally appears. This shift changes everything. Instead of sitting and hoping for the right mood, you teach yourself to move even when you're unsure. The moment you take a step forward, open the document, clean the desk, start the workout, your brain shifts from hesitation to momentum. Suddenly, the task feels less heavy, not because it changed, but because you did. Starting is often harder than working. Discipline is built through small decisions, not large bursts of excitement. Each time you act without waiting for motivation, you strengthen a mental pathway that says, I do things because they matter, not because I feel like it. The more you repeat this pattern, the easier it becomes. Eventually, starting feels natural, and procrastination feels unfamiliar. One practical approach is the 1-minute start. Instead of committing to finishing the task, commit to beginning it for just 60 seconds. Write one sentence, read one page, organize one drawer. This reduces mental resistance and often leads to more effort naturally. Once you're already moving, continuing is far easier than starting from zero. Another helpful method is designing your environment to reduce friction. Keep tools visible, prepare your workspace before you need it, and remove distractions that demand your attention. When your surroundings support action, you don't need to rely on willpower alone. You create conditions where doing the task is simpler than avoiding it. When you stop waiting for motivation and start creating it through action, your life changes. You learn that discipline isn't about forcing yourself, it's about understanding how the mind works and working with it, not against it. The secret is not to feel ready, but to begin. And once you begin, the motivation you were searching for starts to follow you. Before we continue the book, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Your support helps us bring you more amazing audiobooks every week. Chapter 4: 7 Strategies to Reprogram Your Mind for Action. To build a life driven by consistent effort rather than waiting for motivation, you need practical tools that support your mind in taking action. Productivity is not about pushing yourself endlessly, it's about designing systems that make the right actions easier and natural. This chapter introduces 7 strategies you can apply starting today to gently reshape your mindset and turn progress into a daily habit. The first strategy is breaking tasks into smaller steps. When a goal feels too large, your brain sees it as a threat and resists starting. Instead of saying, "I need to write a full report," begin with "I'll write the first paragraph." This shift removes overwhelm and gives your mind a small, clear opening to begin. The smaller the step, the easier it is to create momentum. The second strategy is using a timer, such as the Pomodoro technique. Working in focus time blocks, like 25 minutes of effort followed by a short break, helps you stay committed without feeling drained. Your brain stays sharp because it knows rest is coming. This method turns work sessions into balanced cycles of focus and renewal, not long stretches of exhaustion. The third strategy is using gentle self-talk. The way you speak to yourself shapes your behavior more than you might realize. Instead of saying, "I can't do this now," try, "Let me start with 5 minutes," or "This is important to me." Encouraging language reduces emotional resistance and makes discipline feel like self-support rather than self-punishment. The fourth strategy is self-accountability. Progress becomes real when you track it. Use a habit tracker, checklist, or journal to record your actions. Each completed day becomes proof that you're moving forward, and seeing your streak grow motivates you to keep going. You can also share your goals with someone who checks in on your progress for extra support. The fifth strategy is reducing distractions. Productivity is often not about trying harder but removing what pulls you away. Silence notifications, clean your workspace, close unnecessary tabs, and create a calm environment. When distractions disappear, focus becomes effortless, and your mind can work without constant internal battles. The sixth strategy is documenting your progress. Writing down what you accomplished each day builds self-awareness. You start noticing patterns, when you work best, what slows you down, and what habits truly help. Over time, this clarity makes your system stronger and more tailored to your nature. The seventh strategy is setting clear priorities. Not everything deserves your attention today. Choose 1 or 2 tasks that truly matter and let them guide your energy. When you put important work first, even small actions lead to meaningful results. By combining all 7 strategies, you shift from forcing productivity to living in alignment with it, calm, focused, and steadily moving forward. Chapter 5: An Unbreakable Routine, Building a Daily System for Sustainable Success. A truly powerful routine doesn't rely on sudden motivation, it relies on structure. When your day has clear anchors, you don't wake up wondering what to do, the path is already set. This chapter focuses on building a simple but strong daily system that keeps you moving, even on days when your energy is low. It's not about perfection, but about creating habits that make progress automatic. Start with your mornings. A strong morning doesn't have to be complicated or packed with tasks, it just needs intention. A short stretch, a glass of water, 5 minutes planning your day, or a quiet moment to breathe can shift your mind from chaos to control. What matters most is consistency. A calm, predictable start creates momentum for the rest of the day. Next, create dedicated blocks of focused work. Choose 1 or 2 key tasks and work on them without distractions, even for short periods. Techniques like Pomodoro, 25 minutes work, 5 minutes rest, help you train your brain to focus without feeling overwhelmed. This level of structure sends a message to your mind: when it's time to work, we work. Over time, it becomes natural. Your routine should also include small habits that support your long-term goals. These habits don't need to be big: reading for 10 minutes, reviewing your progress, practicing a skill, or writing a daily reflection. Small actions may feel insignificant in the moment, but repeated daily, they compound into real transformation. This is how ordinary days create extraordinary outcomes. Evening routines matter too. The way you end your day affects the next one. Take a moment to wind down, put your phone aside, reflect briefly on what went well, and prepare for tomorrow. Laying out your tools or listing your top 3 tasks can reduce friction when the new day begins. A peaceful end creates a strong beginning. Finally, remember that a routine is a living system. It will change as you grow. Review it regularly, keep what works, and remove what drains your energy. The goal is not to control every minute, but to create a flow that supports your mind, your work, and your future. When your days follow a rhythm that aligns with your purpose, progress becomes a natural part of who you are. In the end, change doesn't begin with a dramatic moment. It begins with a quiet decision, a choice to show up for yourself, even when no one is watching. The strategies in this book are not meant to overwhelm you or turn you into a new person overnight. They are simple steps that gently reshape your daily behavior, allowing progress to become natural rather than forced. As you continue forward, remember that growth is not linear. Some days you will feel energized, focused, and unstoppable. Other days you may struggle to start. Both are part of the journey. What matters is not perfection, but returning to your path each time you drift. Every small habit, every focus session, and every moment of discipline is a brick in the foundation of the future you want. Now you have the tools to build a life that moves with intention, not by chance. Let your routine support you, let your mind work with you, and let consistency guide you. The journey toward a better version of yourself has already begun. Everything from here is simply a matter of showing up, one day at a time.